I just wanted to pop in very quickly. What is this? It says at least. Oh, okay, that's to create a short. Oh, wow. You can create a short? That's pretty cool. Anyways, so I just wanted to pop in real quick just to kind of hang out, just for a few minutes. And this time, yeah, I discovered that I can just come right in. I'm not on the camera this timer, so I think it's okay. I won't. I promise I'm not gonna make this a habit, but I just want to just kind of just drop in and just talk. Really, had a few days. Took a few days downtime. Um, I broke fast, so and yeah, it was pretty good. It's I'm of course uh, my clients. I'm right on, I guess, the timeline perfectly because today is their completion. So uh, returning back to where I'm busy working again. That's which is tomorrow. Um, what's this about? What's 10 hours from now, or 9 hours, 9 or 10 hours from now, I'll be back on the world stage again, receiving people and continuing to raise the consciousness. They're doing fantastic. All they have to do is just follow the instructions that they suggested and agreed to. I'm of course supporting psychically, spiritually, um, but as long as they, what they say, continue to do exactly what they had in mind, they will be okay. Um, which then that would conclude, because I had to break it up in parts of 2 weeks. So we've got here to Thursday, Friday through, of course, the weekend is like a bridge. So I talk with them. They're going to be worked up as we move, across the weekend threshold. Then, um, yeah, it's a whole nother ball game next week, by the way, because that is one or two things are happening. Um, like the follow up with interviews or conversations happen, but it's all about after the finalizations, and I guess, and give your signature. Next, what happens? You actually step into the role. So I say the results. So that's what we are all expecting next week, just so that we can wrap up this entire sort of season to move into our new chapter, October 30th. You see, so that's where it's all leading. So my thing is, it's kind of like this is the last lap, and they have to give it their all. Every one of us, excuse me, we have to give it our all, and then we all celebrate together with a great big trophy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, if all this goes well, everyone does exactly remembers their part, their part. We act in unison as a team. It should come together easily. That's my thoughts. So I am definitely looking forward to, uh, well, not to rush, not to we do. I mean, I don't want to rush the week, but I'm just saying, I am looking towards every the experience of after the 30th. Oh, by the way, you do realize the shift. Like, okay, so we're still working out Virgo's energy. If you don't understand that, it's just the way that the dates have shifted. So October 30th is actually the incoming Libra. So, but I mean, not to make a big deal out of it, you know, if you're celebrating, you know, celebrate as you always have all your life. I have to be specific with dates because we're talking about predictions here. And if you're going to make a prediction, there's a timeline. You have to mark the on the timeline very specific time that we associate with where the stars actually are. And so that's why it's important to me. But as a marketing element, you know, for people to become interested in astrology, fine. Have I'm not gonna. I don't need to change it. NASA and astrophysicists already have updated theirs, so I mean that's what gives me the ability. But I'm just saying, I won't change the public opinions. They have so much to do in this lifetime other than that. But when it comes up, I definitely will share my honest and professional opinion. Um, and I'm getting used to this new way of reading as well. Like I'm learning about what do you call this? What do you call it? The like or oracle style, stuff, and it's a whole nother system altogether. And but it's giving a lot of interesting perspective because it looks as though like whenever I look at it at face value, it looks like there's a language written, and then it's interpreted at the bottom, and then it has numbers, and those numbers mean something to people. I I try to process like how does this stuff even work, but because I'm shown what to do, that's one, and then I do it and it works, and I even lead the conversation. It doesn't require, and people will ask, "Do you need a name? Do you need birth dates?" And I'm like, "No, that won't." What's more useful is if you would like to tell me what you want to know, what you want to hear from this. I mean, not what you want to hear, but what kind of questions you might have. That seems to, but sometimes that's not an option. And that's okay. Or but lately people have said, oh yeah, they just go ahead and give me the name and a birth date anyway, and I'm like, I mean, I listen for their sake because this is somebody who I mean, this is important for them, so I've learned to embrace it in that way. um and it's not an issue. I mean, if you happen to want to pass that along, it's just that that's not my tool anymore. When I was very young and I had a raw gift, of course I was trying to figure out how does this stuff even work. Of course I was in the middle of the kitchen at 2 o'clock a.m. saying, name in my the person's name in my head several times over, and their complete birth date, January 18, 1967. Jessica Adams. Jessica, and I thought it took all that. Well, for me at the time to call down the cosmos to channel this information that whomever, if I was actually speaking with Jessica Adams. So now then, of course, yeah, you don't have that kind of luxury in time. That was in the, like, what do you say? Is that the correct way of saying post 80s, right? So, because well, it's 60, 70, still young in the from the 80s group, right? Yeah. That doesn't fly with people in the world of internet. They're like, hurry up, get my relative. My spirit knows who I am. My daddy know who I am. All I want to know is where's he at? And so I don't have time to call down Cosmos, you know. No. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm ignoring chat. It says this is a live, verified, safe space. Has been verified, as in a what? Um, no, no, you can't. You cannot speak for me. No, don't. Please don't speak for me. If I want people to know, I'll tell them. Okay, so uh oh, hi though, everybody else. If you're just coming in, hello. Yeah. If I want people to know, if I want if I want publicity, if I want dating opportunity, I will do that for me on my own. I actually am the one that would approach. No one approaches me. So let me handle that. Thank you. But I'm gonna assume you meant well, but I don't like I rather pursue. I rather be the one pursuing. Okay. So, um, all right. So, but hello. But yes, however, I am subscribed to a ton of LGBTQ, and I always include mine as and I absolutely um, am subscribed. So, and I love those channels. So I like to hang out with them, and I enjoy, those, their lives and so forth. So I do hang out. I love hanging out, of course, with my straight groups as well. So it's LGBTQ and I, and also my straight groups, straight up, like they are all about the men or the women. I also enjoy them as well. So yeah, I hang out with them, and I get a lot of like knowledge, and I feel like I get education by hanging out with them. So yeah, I hope I get, I hope I more and more, more interest. I want to broaden my mind, open my mind. I don't want to limit myself, and I just never. I think that's a good thing. Like I can already tell if I, okay, I definitely encourage my children to, I can see it now. I encourage my children to be popular, to run like more, hang out with the like You need to get around with the more extroverted. What I mean by extroverted in a loud group, I mean people who are invested in things, programs, and like after school programs with other, because you know why? Peer pressure. Mm-mm. I'm bigger than peer pressure. Like the popular kids, you can't peer pressure popular group. Yeah, I'm. This doesn't work. I laugh. I don't know. It's like I have a aura of laugh. Just laugh it off, because I'm like, you think that is like you can't push me around. I still carry that energy. So definitely, I'd be uh, like my kid. Like I remember, I don't think he could do it today, but like doing backflips off the furniture. Of course, I eventually I was like, look, no more of that. But it's like out of nowhere, this backflip. Like no cares, no, like nobody's looking. Like, oh, this is normal. So like, like outgoing energy. So like I just and like even adults, like work now that I nurture the adults, right? I I mean, I'm telling you, when you open up an adult who's used to being in an egg, oh my, and like it's so funny because they go from this being in an egg, now they're like telling me their stories, where people are just walking up to them and introducing themselves to them, or like they're just being stared at, and or people like kind of peacocking and they're like, oh my gosh, this has never happened before. I don't know if I'm into that. They're like, yeah, they're like peacock, like like flexing, and it's like I don't know if I'm into that. It's so funny. It's like okay, now that it's open, those options are open to them. They're like, I don't need that part. But they do like being approached, and they you know like meeting new people, and so yeah, they're meeting the worry was that they were not going to meet anyone. Now they're meeting like three, four, five people a day, and they're taking and exchanging numbers. So these are very real connections, not just being friendly and oh hi, okay, bye. It's more like they are like making plans, to like do like festivals and do athletic, participate in athletic events together. So that kind of thing. So I'm like before this, they were like, well, like they were just very, like just very much in the egg. Like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that, and very like like shy, almost close to timid. And like I mean like was one was so timid and quiet, afraid to go through customs. Like it was just a nightmare. And we spent minutes like calming them down, and like nothing bad is gonna go wrong through customs. It's they're gonna just ask you a few questions, that's it. And we had to kind of debate the difference between customs, I guess, when you're in the infrastructures, when you're just traveling like within your country, and that versus when you're going through like international customs. And I was like, so there's a difference because the international customs, they just want to know who you are, being that, from another land, entering into a new land. And it'll be easy. But then they did it. They said, oh, it was so easy. I couldn't believe it. And then from there, it was like watching a flower and, um, faster opening, like blossoming fast, like on speed. And and I am just amazed. So yeah, the world is opening up to they seeing the world so much brighter. And interestingly enough, seeing full potential. So oh yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I just have a love for people. But yeah, I just like to just come along and um, what do you call it? I like to kind of, yeah. Mm, well, I just like to arrive stag on my own, and like by myself, and then I have the best time just meeting new people. And if I am, yeah, and then I of course pursue whatever I wish to experience rather than somebody, I guess, what they call it. I don't even know the word. What women say, oh, uh being approached, like like the yeah, like I'm an initiator, so I initiate. So yeah. And then yeah, and then if there is an agreement, a consensual agreement to the initiative, then from there it's beautiful. Yeah, I like to take. Well, I don't give too much. It's no, I don't have to give too much to where now you're like, okay, that's I don't even need a visual. We're just trying to. Oh, I misinterpret that. Hold on, they said declare this as a safe space. Hold on, let me reinstate that. My bad. Hold on, let me see. It says this live is verified safe space. Okay. Host has been verified as an LGBTQ plus member. Hold on. Official notification system. Staff, please report any hateful comments. Do I need that? Do I really want that there? Why do you have to put that there? Yeah, that still doesn't sound. I mean, yeah. I mean, I was trying to be positive about it. Yeah, I was trying to be positive about it. Um, no, nah, I'm not. I'm gonna leave it hidden. Yeah, the correct way should have been LGBTQ. I would say LGBTQP plus and I. Like you should have said LGBT. Like this is a safe space. LG and the host is can be LGBTQs supporting. Now that you could have added something after so that I could have a chance to give me you didn't give me room to speak for myself. That's why I had to exit out. That was okay. So I had to think after I thought it played in my head for a reason again. I was like, well, maybe it wasn't as what I thought it was, but yeah, it was exactly what I thought it was. You were taking my right to speak for me, for myself, and that's where that is a no. You don't, whomever you are, even if you're YouTube. I don't think it's YouTube. Somebody passing off as YouTube. Yeah, no, you shouldn't take control of that because is a that is sexual, and so that is definitely on the grounds of creep. So yeah, definitely not a go here. Sorry. I thought I tried to give you benefit of the doubt. Eh, the first part was good. You could have left off that last part. This you could have just declared this as a safe space for LGBTQ plus. But they're gonna know that already. Of course but this is a safe place. Don't leave out the straight people. You should have said and straight people as well. That you could put an S because it's safe for everybody to come in. Yeah, but because it's attaching it to to the sex thing and therefore the acts thereof, that and you're kind of overbearing in that area, yeah, that is a bit crossing the line of boundary. So that's why, yeah, I had to take it out. That way, I can maintain my security and my consent. If I consent or dissent. Yeah, don't take away my power to dissent or to disengage said conversation, LGBTQ and plus, etc. Thank you. You're learning. I'm teaching you. If you're AI, I'm teaching you something good, something useful. That way you don't get in trouble. And somebody said, "Yo, that you ignored their consent." You don't want that to happen. You get sued. So yeah. All right. Um. Yeah, I'm definitely continuing with my journey and continuing to grow, having a good time. Um, just continue to learn. Oh, by the way, so I have picked up this new interesting space that has a lot to do with this whole. It's like an oracle style, and where it's a conversation where there's a whole line of like with the I guess like the higher conversations, what we can call it, and then below it is like the lower conversation that is legible that people anyone I think could read. But then when you translate into numbers, that seems to be what an individual could learn. So I've picked up on that because every year, um, I feel like gosh, I just feel very pure right now. So um, I don't know what it is. I'm like in my purity right now. So, oh, anyways, so I am able to like help the individual understand what what that higher information is about by because I think people do understand numbers. So I speak to people. It's like three levels here because there's what we call higher information, or like macrocosmic, microcosmic, and then straight up numbers. That's where people typically can understand the what you might deem as, well, that's the abstract things that sometimes that translate in a conversation. Just match it to numbers. They'll say, oh yeah, yeah, I got it now. They'll like catch up onto it. But yeah, I just had to come in here and just hang out in my life and just enjoy, this crazy journey. This journey is going to be very different. I will try to maintain a space that everybody, including, we got to add S. It should. It's not just one group, but it's all the whole group. S as well for straight. We got to have some straights because most of the time I'm engaging my gifts is very compatible to heterosexuals. Is it an S or an H? It sounds like it would be an S. Probably the heterosexuals probably say, yeah, yeah, H. But it sounds like LGBTQB plus S and I. There's me. Yeah, we got to add this. Yeah, we got to make sure that the straights don't forget that they're welcome here and it's a safe space for them as well. They're not going to be, you know, LGBTQ plus holy rolled out of here. No, no, heteronormatives. Heterosexuals. I'm not going to holy roll you. LGBTQ plus be out of you know out of you, something like that. Okay, all right. Okay, so everybody is welcome. No exclusion. No. Oh yeah, definitely no. What do you call it? So I want to be the one leading this. So I don't want to be like giving special treatments just because you like a certain certain tastes. Okay, that doesn't mean you win favor in my readings. No, my readings are for everybody in the world, and they just come as they are. And because it's your reading and you're the individual, then you can express then you express what you are, if you need to, some people, they need to though. And they stand in it, like they are whatever high, a very clearly a straight woman, then she stands in it. And guess what? She looked for a man. Stand in that, own it, So yeah. So that's the only time. Yeah. Yeah. But I do read for people, who are they're exploring outside of the binary code. They're exploring beyond, like the opposite sex, right? So, yeah, there are readings for you as well, but the same wishes that I want for a couple who are like a man and a woman couple are my same hopes and wishes for someone who is outside of this group, because I still believe that all relationships should encompass relationships that are, have love in it, protection, care, the ideals for a healthy family, healthy mindset, non destructive, non self destructive, no abuse. That means no abuse is under that is no abuse spiritually, no abuse mentally, no abuse physically, no abuse emotionally, obviously, no abuse psychically, no abuse financially. Now, guess what? Heterosexuals like, some heterosexuals like relationships, plural. So they have several partners or they have a few partners like, every season and within their life. Then thus as will people outside of the male female component. So, yes, I mean, if you have relationships like right now, you're just in your, at the moment, your season is kind of like just meeting people and maybe even meeting people only once, or maybe have a date. And yes, I can read around that. Heterosexuals have asked about people whom they've discovered on an app or something like that. And yes, I've read for them before they go on the date. Yes, or they've gone on the date, maybe with a few people from the app, and maybe even hooked up with one of them. They actually went all the way with one of them. Come back, and we do a reading on all three of them. Okay, how are they? What are they? And can this go further? Is there what kind of potentials are there, or is it none of them, and somebody else is coming? What do I see? So yeah, we can go that route as well. Heterosexuals ask about the person, like a man will ask all about the personalities and feelings and the thoughts of a woman. A woman will likewise ask about the feelings, the thoughts, and what the man wants, and what is he thinking at right there at this moment. And since the last time she's texted him, yeah, and I answer those. So likewise, I'm sure anyone outside of the the male and female component, they ask these very same questions, should come up. By the way, I would, because we want healthy relationships of all kinds. um yes, I can answer those questions, so that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. But as everyone is human in this conversation. Everyone is responsible for his and her readings. Okay. You're responsible for your readings. His, her readings, your readings. And that does mean there's no what do you call it? Just because you're straight doesn't mean that there's some kind of of course your spirits are favoring you, yes, to make the right decisions, that is. Okay. Yeah. But no extra that comes by being either of those things. You should be allowed and safely be allowed just to be you, especially in a psychic space. In a psychic space, you should feel comfortable and you should feel safe. Absolutely. And this is a spiritual space, not just a psychic space. This is a spiritual space. So, this is, you kind of got to check, the other stuff at the door. There's some things you can leave at the door because you're only going to be speaking with me for a moment in time. When you do speak with me and interact with me and interact with you consensually. And yeah, you're not here to stay. You're here to transcend my conversations with you to elevate upon your elevation into your new way of living, which hopefully is empowering and also healthy, beneficial to you. Yeah, so think of it like that and open your mind, and let's not create decisive conversations in a spiritual space because that's just isn't spiritual. We want to be spiritual here, right? So, yes, we need to be open and include everyone. We need to include everyone. And yeah, and I just don't want to pretend that either of any of these never existed before. You're literally written in the Bible. This is not, you're not new, okay? Literally, like Adam and Eve. Come on, Adam and Eve. Buy this new T-shirt, Adam and Eve. You got that from Genesis. It is old, old as Nefertiti. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Oh boy. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yay. Gosh. You like, come on, like you're so old that you old you old that you thought that Ham was being gay on Noah, his father. The son that Ham, the son of Noah is the father. You thought that Ham was being gay on his, like you real old. Okay, you ain't this, you ain't new. You is not you. Okay, 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 okay. Oh man. Okay. All right. So I think we get it. Everybody is welcome here. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Um. Okay. All right. So everyone gets it. All right. So how long I've been talking here? For like nearly 40 minutes? Okay. Kind of hanging out. All right. Um, people just kind of, guess we're kind of getting used to um, being connected. I'm just enjoying the ride. Wonderful, wonderful ride. Oh my gosh. Um, let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah, I know that they're like, I'm sensing questions. Tomorrow, I mean, in the morning, not now, but in the morning, I'll get back into the world again. Yeah, I'm going to be opening up myself to the world again. They'll be asking me questions about what I see for them, what's going on, what's going to happen, because they would have successfully wrapped up um, this. This it's like a part A, part B type situation of C, by the way, because this is the end of it. I'm so looking forward. It's gonna be amazing. Um, this weekend. wonderful. I like it. I like it where it's going. But yeah, the week upcoming. I mean, sometimes I get the feeling like people are like, but I don't want the unexpected. I'm like, come on, just open the door already. The door behind it is riches of all kinds, riches of partnership and riches of, you know, money, finances, business associates. hmm The passions of this world. I'm I'm learning to safely guide people to their innermost. What do you call it? Innermost is I guess what is it? The passion. There. Okay. People have. Okay. There are passions of this world, right? Fruits of this world that are meant for pleasure, right? But then there are people's like their personal wishes. So I'm learning to safely um, direct people in a healthy way towards their individual desires without like but being detached, excuse me, the correct way of saying it, not having attachment to any of those desires. In other words, keeping pure. Purity is everything to me. So these days I really like, of course, all these years I perfected and worked on my purity, and with it I've been able to, sort of like ward off and keep into protections in place, you know keep my wards up so that I could, do this work properly. I tread into places where, not too many people, if any, can go because you, you know I would love to say you can't enter these places with a tainted mind. And then we know why. Because people who have a tainted mind or have a dark or corruptible intention, yeah, they they play into their and they will play into those. Well, it's like a fantasy, but it's but it becomes into a reality. So yeah, and they don't, for some reason, it seems like they don't seem protected. Like things sort of are able to somehow transmute into them in some way. I don't know how they figure that out. I don't know how it happens for them, but it's, yeah, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's like a, I guess, perversion, spiritual. It's like perverting spirituality in some way. I don't know how they manage to do it, but because it's just so natural. Like I literally do speak differently in my spiritual space. Like there's words, phrases, slogans, slang. I clean it all up, even in a reading, and including my interaction emotionally, in every way, philosophy, my thoughts about the world, politics, about race, sex, like all of that goes, like, but it gets shelved, at least shelved. I'm not saying I'm not like, oh, I don't have challenges like anyone else. I'm just saying not in the spiritual space. No way, no way. So, which pretty much I live in the spiritual space, for like I can spend absorbed into a spiritual life. which I will do tomorrow. Soon, actually, soon, like like 9 or 8 hours from now, I will be absorbed in that space, and I always like, and if conversation, but people are people, and conversation is going to lead. It's going to, yes, but I've always managed to guide the conversation back to focus on what they're there for, and that is to speak with spirit in a spiritual space, and I'm to translate what spirit is illustrating as a psychic under the banner of a psychic. So I just don't get it. Like the twist, the plot twist, I don't get it. I'm glad that I can't understand it. It was never meant for me. It's never something that will. It doesn't have a chance. So, which is good because um, the more I guess notable that I become, and you know, things can come up, things come out, and I love the idea that I'll never have to worry about anything like that. I'll never. That's one thing, universe, the angels, or the gods. Well, that's one thing they know they'll never have to worry about. Is that is you know something from like being like perversions of all of from past, present, or in the futures. They know, spirits know that that's just something they'll never have to worry about. So, or fraud, by the way. Like, yeah, they'll never have to worry about credit fraud, financial fraud, or frauding as a spiritualist. And I'm not. That's one thing that doesn't come up. Anything surrounding my gifts never come up. It's always things meant to contradict my gifts or like replace my gifts. Like people will try to switch out my gifts for something lame, like um like apps and stuff, like apps in um OF, and like, but I am like a magician. I switch it right back. Like, oh no, my gift is just fine. Thank you. My career is just fine. Thank you. Like God gave. It's like the Chinese. I love the emerald. The what do you call it? The emperor. Emerald emperor. Is it no? The jade emperor. Excuse me. The jade emperor, and how the lion, which is interesting, 13, of the animals, right? The lion ends up getting sleepy, fell asleep, and guess who shows up in his place? The rat. And now, isn't that a twist? Now that's a plot twist. The rat shows up, and guess who accepted it? Accepted the invitation. That's right, the Jade Emperor, the master of the universe, or God in that case, as he was choosing which animals would serve as the constellations. And so the lion was replaced. That's why there's not a lion. You feel like, shouldn't a lion be on there? And it's kind of in a weird way, it connects itself to the greater, biblios, right? That someday the lion comes back. The story where the lion comes back, or like a roaring lion, the roaring lion seeking to devour, and the lion, of course, representation as the beast who was cast out of heaven, who, came against humanity, and was, you know, uh, and jealousy, well, envy, excuse me, not more than just jealousy, envy, you know, uh, began to be disobedient and confrontational with 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 God, and so and out of this envy is seeking to always to devour and destroy, because out of envy, and then there's of course the one where comes back as, will rise as a roaring lion, as in the name of strength, before there is peace, so like a great warrior someday. So that's on the other end of the spectrum. But yeah, I love that. Also, whenever you astrologically look at, like, okay, so they have this thing where you take, I guess it's the old uh, Dave. I think it's Solomon's temple, the old temple where they were making sacrifices, and each, like, there are corners that you set up, and the corner, um, that is in front of the, I believe, in front of the entrance, ends up being Aries, which is the ram, the holy ram. But the lion, is like, it's sketched. You see the astrological patterns in the old temple, which is fascinating. And then, all astrological signs that are lunar. So if they have 13 signs, that means these are the lunar religions, to have 13. So, like, we know that the Chinese zodiac is a lunar religion. We know that the Celtic religion is a lunar religion. We know that Abrahamic religion is a lunar religion. Therefore, even Egyptian religion is going to be lunar, because they follow the moon cycle as opposed to, like, the solar religions. Like Christianity, probably be more like a solar aspect of of the Abrahamic religion, having 12 signs. Yeah. So, like, religions that have maybe carry the 12 signs, um, like, you have the Native American, like, all of them, they will stress the number 12. But we ask the ones who look to the stars and the moon, etc., and the sun is considered to be a star, the astrophysicists, whether they are believers or not, they validate 13 signs, seems to be the validating number. And of course, we have the emojis in everybody's, where you look for emojis on your smart devices. That symbol is there of the 13th planet. So, so there you go. The greater cosmos story of, how it all connects. It's astonishing. Something about the lion is still written in the story, although it was late to the invitation to the great cosmic party. So, anyways, what time is it? It's about okay. So, okay, I could say a little while longer. But yeah, I do enjoy, looking how, like, these, um, holy books and mysteries, how they collide. I think it's good for study. Um, and that story, in so many ways, I do, like, try to find the correlation between that lion, to the lion that is the solar lion. As the lion shows up anyway, right, in the solar, with Leo. And also, in the tarot language, represents strength. Um, yeah, so, maybe there's another, story to behold, which, um, now Egypt, thought, was also is also correct, by the way. They acknowledge 14 directions. And the 14th one, of course, it was said that the goddess couldn't find the last piece of the celestial body of her consort. And which, by the way, is a phallus, if you care to know. but okay, so there's that. And De Gracie and others have, said that actually, there is a 14th, but it's so short that nobody pays it any mind. Which means that over time it could become something significant. Also, they are NASA. That he says there are kind of Also, I checked it out. They're covertly researching this. So it doesn't have a name, it doesn't have meaning. Like, no one has philosophized on what it represents. I have my theories that it has to have something to do with, because the patterns always fit, though we don't really admit that out loud. Um, the esoteric. So I would have to. Okay, Pluto has is fulfilled his two. So I believe that the next one would be Neptune. They tried to fit. That's what this is where they went wrong. They tried to give our the 13th sign. They tried to give it, I believe, Neptune. Didn't work because yeah, because okay. It represents the church to be. That's why it cannot be Neptune. And it's associated with Pisces. We're not in the age of Pisces. It's just a lot. It has to come. It has to be Neptune, because Pluto. Oh, that story is beautiful. But yeah, it's associated to Pluto. It's Pluto's uh, coronation, not Neptune's. Yeah, it's such a beautiful conversation there. It's in this piece. It's about transcendence, right? And of course, it's the story of Scorpio. Having spent time, it's called the ancient description of Scorpio was through death. There's power, and where you get um, um, like in death you find power, or like to divide, to conquer, and to divide. That's where all that energy comes from. It's the powerhouse of the signs. So it also represents death, and its association to death and rebirth for a while. With the New Agers, right? They want to kind of clean up the language rather than saying death. It's cycle, and death and all. No, it means and rebirth too. You know, but which mentally, it's like we kind of just knew innately where we were going with this, because yeah, from that sign mostly, is and that is also the birthing sign, right? Scorpio. Um, and then it's like Ophiuchus happens, so because it goes Scorpio Sagittarius, but no, 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 it goes Scorpio Ophiuchus. I like to say Ophiuchus, and then Sagittarius. But then it rises above. It rises kind of like a pillar, and then it has, every sign has a Christian element to it, and also a Greek element. So you can, if you look at it from the Greek perspective, it's their ancient. I think his name is Aegeus, and he's a physician, and basically he was so gifted at saving lives that um, Pluto, or um, god of the underworld, was angry and was saying he taken souls from the gods. And so, but Zeus was so impressed that Zeus, of course, struck him down, because he had to. It was like to save face. But as he has done many times, he placed him among the stars. So that's the Greek version. The Christian version, or the Catholic version, is when you see him, it looks like a man, or like a Jesus archetype, holding the head of the serpent and the tail of the serpent. That's in representing, Jesus conquer over victory over death. It represents that Jesus controls the information, which is the head, and the events from that information, the tail. Placing him, you know, uh, the king, the world and everything that happens within it, and so all in his hands, or his strength over the serpent, as in the serpent of, you say, the garden, or the many times as the adversaries has played out through the Bible. So that's the Christian symbol of the sign. In your as an emoji, it looks like a U with a little serpent kind of crossing through it. So whenever it's in the midst of the other astrological signs, you can't miss it. You count all of them, and you'll end up with 13, not 12, as advertised. Okay, so and then yeah, some people might even say its element is um, earth but it goes earth, but also it describes spirit or Holy Spirit. So I'm just studying that. I wrote it down. Oh, it's in my other book. What time is it? Oh, I have to go more to this conversation a little later. Yeah, I don't want to go over my time. We'll have to I have to visually show you this the next time. I know, like talking about it is fascinating. Because I just learned it last night. This part that I'm sharing now, I've always known about that sign, but how we're talking about like this as an from an esoteric, like how it fits in the universe. Yeah, I just learned because I get new information, new giftings every year from August 15th and all the way into the new year. So I'm receiving these new ways of, oh, yeah, by the way, next year is the year of marriages. This year is the year of partnerships and relationships and so forth, and meeting your soul connections and meeting your soul group, soul tribe. If you're tribeless, I'm a tribeless person as well. So if you're a tribeless, or like if you're an omega, in werewolf language, the wolf that either is kicked out of the pack or left the pack are called omegas. Then you have, the alphas, they have a pack. So I guess omegas is opposite. Yeah, so if I was a werewolf, I'd be like an omega, and or a solar practitioner. If I were if I were I guess one of the mystical people, I'd be a solo practitioner. In the spirit people, the spirit flowing people, I am tribeless. But I love it. I'm having a wonderful time. I am an individual, and I hope we can have a chat another time and see where things go. All right. Good morning.